Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today I'm on Pennsylvania Avenue, and behind me is the memorial marquee of the Royal Theater, a must-stop place on the old Chitlin Circuit, that cluster of venues that black Baltimoreans would play at from the 1930s to say the 1960s. And when a new act came in town, let's say James Brown, and I've got a poster here of James Brown, see if I can hold that up. James Brown coming to the Royal. The way that they would advertise that is by putting up globe posters all over the cities, tacking them to telephone poles and putting them at street corners. That signature day glow, eye-popping poster that told you who was playing where. And lo and behold, as other performers were coming into towns like Chicago and Philadelphia, Richmond and Atlanta, there were globe posters being put up all over their towns for the next show up. And there are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of globe posters put up over the years for performers. We got connected with Globe through a former board member of ours, Will Backstrom, who learned that the grandson and great-granddaughter of one of the Globe Poster founders, Norman Shapiro, are writing a book about Globe Poster, in particular its connection with black performers and the civil rights era. I am thrilled that we're going to get to talk to the great-granddaughter, Lori Gail, and go up and visit with her in her family's collection of posters. Globe Poster here in Baltimore got started in 1928 when Norman Shapiro and his brothers opened up a shop, I believe on South Hanover Street. They called it let me make sure I get this straight, a show card printing operation. Show card being kind of the same as what most of us know as concert posters. And early on, they would do posters for things like vaudeville shows, burlesque shows, early films, and things were going really well. And then in 1950, one of their employees, a gentleman named Harry Knorr, learned about a new ink that was coming out, Day Glow. It was eye-popping. It was cheaper than the regular ink, and it was easier to use, and Globe Poster went in for it in a big way. Over the next few years, they grew and grew. They were at one point printing for 20 different shows in a single day. Each of those printings had 200, 300, 1,000 or more posters associated with it. They soon developed a loyal clientele. One fun story is that Tina Turner would call up so many times for posters for her different shows that they had her home number in their Rolodex for Tina Turner. Others, Chuck Berry and B.B. King, Otis Redding, all were frequent flyers, if you will, of Globe Poster. For a long time, Globe was doing well. In 1975, a longtime employee, Joe Cicero, bought the company and ran it with his sons. And things were going really well until about 2010, when digital marketing and prohibitions on posting billboards and whatnot were coming up. And that was the end of the commercial operation of Globe Poster. But a group of Baltimoreans, incidentally including my friend and neighbor, Mary Mashburn, got together and formed a nonprofit group called Friends of Globe. They worked with the Maryland Institute College of Art. They raised money, and they got sort of the whole Globe operation transferred over to MICA. 16 truckloads that included 8,500 posters, thousands of wood blocks, and tens of thousands of letterpress dies. So all of that went to MICA. MICA embraced this in a big way, not just as archives. They created what was called the Globe Collection and Press. Partly, they use this for teaching students, art students, and there's still printing for new clients using all of the Globe materials, including the venerable Smithsonian Institute, all the way up to Bruce Springsteen's last concert here, and Hello Kitty, all of these coming out of Globe, the new Globe, if you will. There are a lot of Globe poster materials at MICA, but not all of them are there. You can get Globe posters on eBay, and we're going to go up and take a look at the family's collection with Lori. We'll see you up there.
Hi, my name is Lori Gail, and I'm here today to show you some of the posters that were printed by our family's poster printing companies. I'm writing a book about it, co-authoring it with my dad, Duke Zimmerman, and it's called People Get Ready, after the Impressions song. and we hope to be releasing it at the end of this year. This book has taken a ton of research because nobody in the family knew the history of all of these companies. And in fact, the 7 brothers who started this, most of them never had kids. So there was nobody to pass these stories on to. It was hard to find these posters because they were meant to be nailed up and torn down shortly after. So these posters are rare. And we have a collection of them here, but we couldn't afford to buy most of them. That Billie Holiday poster, this actually goes for over $50,000 at auction. This is a reproduction because we couldn't afford to buy it at auction, but that's probably the most famous of all these posters. Anyway, we decided to make a coffee table book because we realized we had so many posters that related to the civil rights era, starting all the way in the 20s, but of course going to present day. All American was a company that did newsreels, and this was for all colored theaters, and it's a cast of all colored stars. All American did the newsreels at the beginning of what was known as race films. Lollipop was an actor who was in all of those films, and so he developed a great reputation. This poster was done in 1940. This was for the Negro League. Don't miss the Rock and Roll Diamond Comedy Fun Show. This is the first known use of rock and roll on the wording on a poster. And there's a lot of people who get credit for having come up with the term rock and roll, but actually this is the first evidence of it, and it's ironic that it was on a baseball poster, Cars Beach. Not only was it a great beach, and people who we've talked to have such fond memories of having gone there, it was a real highlight during the summer, but they also had these amazing concerts. And so this is an example of one. We printed for all the concerts at Cars Beach. So this was Otis Redding, and the ticket is $250. It's amazing, with the variety of stars that you have in here. So these were posters that were printed by our company, Globe Poster, and these are really symbolic. The first one was the match between Max Schmeling and Joe Louis. Max Schmeling was a German boxer who Hitler liked to praise as the ideal Aryan athlete. When this match first happened, people were in the US, out of prejudice, were rooting for Max Schmeling. By the time they had their rematch, everyone was rooting for Joe Louis because he was playing against the Nazi, who actually became very close friends with Joe Louis. In fact, Max Schmeling ended up hiding Jews during the Holocaust, so he was not a good choice for Hitler, and Joe Louis won, so it had a happy ending there. It turns out Martin Luther King actually worked for our company in Atlanta called Southern Poster, so we did a bunch of posters for him. We're just thrilled and so excited about this project. It's a labor of love, and maybe it'll be done by Labor Day.